Good evening. Welcome to California Today. I'm Ling Zhang. Here's a preview of some of today's stories. A breakthrough was made in clean energy production in California. Scientists say they have made a major breakthrough in the development of fusion energy. New details are arising on the background of a Virginia sheriff's deputy who traveled to California to kidnap a girl and kill her family. It puts a different light on whether or not he was a threat to others. And Los Angeles has a new mayor, and with that comes with new actions on current problems. She is taking her first steps to solve the homeless crisis. The scientific community at the Lawrence Livermore National Lab is now one step closer to creating an unlimited supply of clean energy. The Department of Energy announced the scientific breakthrough today, which was 60 years in the making. NTD's Jason Perry has the story.
Another big congratulations to Lawrence Livermore National Lab.
Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm also thanked the National Nuclear Security Administration, or NNSA, and everyone else who was involved in the scientific breakthrough. So what exactly did these scientists achieve? NNSA's Deputy Administrator of Defense Programs, Marv Adams, explains.
There's a tiny cylinder here at the end of this that you probably can't see. It's about so tall and this wide. Inside that was a small spherical capsule about half the diameter of a BB. 192 laser beams entered from the two ends of the cylinder and struck the inner wall. They didn't strike the capsule, they struck the inner wall of this cylinder and deposited energy. And that happened in less time than it takes light to move 10 feet. So it's kind of fast.
Adams said they've done this many times before, but this was the first time after 60 years of trying that the fusion fuel inside the capsule produced more energy than was put in. And this is called fusion ignition, which has the potential for making unlimited clean energy. Astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson explained on Fox News what this could mean.
So now it's up to the engineers.
Okay.
Once we get the physics figured out, which it seems like we have, then the engineers say, can I make that smaller? Can I make it portable? There are places that don't have access to energy, either oil or even sunlight, for example, and so, or tidal or hydro. So this would be transformative to civilization.
But the director of the Lawrence Livermore National Lab, Kim Budell, said researchers are still decades away from using fusion reactors as a main source of power. Jason Perry, NTD News.
A Virginia sheriff's deputy died by killing himself after having killed 3 family members of a California teen. Law enforcement said they found no warning signs at the time of hiring the deputy, but a new police report shows something different.
According to California Riverside authorities, Austin Lee Edwards, a 28-year-old Virginia sheriff's deputy, killed himself on November 25th with a service gun. That was after he allegedly killed 3 family members of a 15-year-old California girl. A police report from the Abingdon Police Department in Virginia shows he was detained in 2016 for a psychiatric evaluation over threats to kill himself and his father. That was before he joined law enforcement. Edwards was a former Virginia state trooper and a sheriff's deputy in Washington County, Virginia. Recently, Edward met and deceived the teenage girl online to obtain her personal information. After his sexual extortion was refused by the girl, Edward drove across the country to Riverside and allegedly killed the girl's mother and grandparents. Officials say the teenage girl was rescued, but Edward shot himself during a shootout with San Bernardino sheriff deputies. Law enforcement agencies say they found no warning signs about Edwards before he was hired. Only recently, they found a, quote, human error resulting in an incomplete database query during the hiring process. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
Los Angeles will be ending its local state of emergency over COVID-19. The city council voted last week to end the emergency in 2023.
On her first day in office, newly sworn-in Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass says she will tackle the homelessness crisis plaguing the second-largest city in the nation. That's by declaring a state of emergency on homelessness. The declaration allows Bass to take executive actions, even though the city council will have to sign off every 30 days. She signed the declaration in a room designated as the United Homelessness Response Center inside the city's Emergency Operations Center. Bass pointed out how fast the city rebuilt its freeways after the 6.7 magnitude Northridge earthquake in 1994. She said she's making for an unconventional approach. According to the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, there's an estimated 42,000 homeless people in Los Angeles. That's up 1.7% from 2020. In the coming days, Bass is scheduled to announce a program called Inside Save. The plan is said to cost $100 million. It will be used to place homeless people inside motels near encampment areas. This comes a week after the council voted to end the city's COVID-19 state of emergency. It has been placed since March 4th, 2020. Bass, the first woman to hold the position, was sworn in as LA mayor on Sunday.
Los Angeles will be ending its local state of emergency over COVID-19. The city council voted last week to end the emergency in 2023.
Los Angeles City Council members agreed that the state of local emergency due to COVID-19 will be expiring next February. Council President Paul Krikorian introduced an amendment to continue the state of local emergency, but set an end date for February 1st, 2023. Council members Marquise Harris Dawson, Mike Bonin, and Nithya Raman voted against the end date, but the entire item passed 12-0. Mayor Eric Garcetti sent a notice to the council recommending the end date. He says that the city has developed the infrastructure and capacity to manage the previous challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Los Angeles state of emergency has been in place since March 4th, 2020. Along with COVID rules expiring, the city's long-standing eviction protections are also set to expire at the end of January.
The Supreme Court decided to uphold California's ban on flavored tobacco products. That's after tobacco companies requested to put the law on hold. Voters approved the ban this past November election.
The Supreme Court on Monday refused a request from tobacco companies to stop California from enforcing a ban on flavored tobacco products, including e-cigarettes. Voters approved of the ban in November. North Carolina-based R.J. Reynolds and other tobacco companies sought the High Court's intervention to keep the ban from taking effect by December 21st. There was no additional comment from the justices and no noted dissents. In a federal lawsuit, the company argues that the ban is beyond the authority of the state and violates the U.S. Constitution. California voters easily approved Proposition 31, the flavored tobacco products ban referendum, on November 8th. Nearly two-thirds of voters approved of banning the sale of everything from cotton candy vaping juice to menthol cigarettes. R.J. Reynolds filed a federal lawsuit on November 9th, but lower courts refused to put the law on hold while the suit proceeded. Supporters of the ban say the law was necessary to put a stop to a staggering rise in teen smoking.
We are going to take a short break, but here's a look at what we got for you when we come back. As deadly fentanyl takes more lives in the Golden State, politicians are starting to take more action. One Southern California city is boosting its enforcement against it. And the state is looking for ways to protect students. A celebration was held over the weekend in the South Bay for Asian American community leaders. That was to honor recent election results. And parts of Los Angeles are known for their extreme luxury, even with food. A pizzeria is offering a dish that costs over $3,000. We'll see if it will fill people up. That and more on California Today. Welcome back to California Today. I'm your host, Liang Zhang. The San Diego mayor signed an executive order last month to crack down on fentanyl. This comes after the San Diego Board of Supervisors declared fentanyl overdoses a public health crisis last June.
In November, San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria signed an executive order to crack down on fentanyl. The goal is to increase public awareness of the dangers of fentanyl and to strengthen law enforcement's ability to prevent the sale and use of the drug within the city. In a press release, Gloria said this demands swift action from all levels of government. The executive order will push to educate the public on accidental overdoses, the risk of using fentanyl, and the life-saving ability of naloxone. Naloxone is the antidote to overdosing on the opioid drug, often available through community outreach programs. This will be funded through the city's estimated $30 million in recent opioid settlement funding. The order will also require the San Diego Police Department to prioritize tracking down, arresting, and prosecuting those that supply fentanyl to vulnerable populations in the county. Recent county data saw 133 deaths from fentanyl in 2021 compared to 2 deaths the year prior. Fentanyl, a synthetic opioid, is 50 times more potent than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine. Officials say that deaths from accidental fentanyl overdoses have increased tenfold in the last 5 years. Previously, the San Diego Board of Supervisors declared fentanyl overdoses a public health crisis in June.
California has seen an increase in accidental overdoses involving fentanyl at school campuses. Alongside preventative programs, one lawmaker introduced a bill that will require schools to keep an overdose antidote drug on hand. NTD's Jason Blair has more.
With recent reports of several overdoses of students at school, a new California bill would require K-12 schools to carry at least 2 doses of naloxone, also known as Narcan, on campus. Narcan is used to reverse overdoses on opioids such as fentanyl and heroin. Assembly Bill 19 was introduced by Assemblyman Joe Patterson. Patterson said in a press release, quote, "The real epidemic in my district is kids' access to deadly counterfeit pills. Fentanyl-related deaths increased by 450% between 2019 and 2021, with half of the victims being under 25. On the same day, Patterson also introduced Assembly Bill 18. The bill would send written notice to people convicted of trafficking fentanyl that if another person dies from them selling the drug, then they may be convicted of murder. Recently, there's been a rise in cases of opioid overdoses at schools. In September, a 15-year-old at an LA County high school accidentally overdosed and died on a pill she thought was Percocet but actually contained fentanyl. In the same month, an employee at a California middle school accidentally overdosed on fentanyl that a student brought to the school. Fortunately, the victim was revived using Narcan. The Los Angeles Department of Public Health defines fentanyl as a synthetic opioid 50 times more potent than heroin and 100 times more potent than morphine. Recent data reported that accidental overdoses in LA County have increased 1,280% over the past 5 years. According to California Legislature, AB 19 is likely to be heard by committee in January. Jason Blair, NTD News, California.
The Los Angeles City Council unanimously passed a policy on Wednesday requiring new buildings to be all electric. The measure is another step towards the city's goal of becoming carbon-free.
New buildings approved after April next year and affordable housing approved after June will need to comply with a new requirement in Los Angeles. Buildings will need to be all electric for lighting, heating, and all other appliances. Accessory dwelling units and cooking equipment for restaurants are exempt. Environment advocates told City News Service that the 12-0 vote on this new policy could lead to remodeling existing buildings to be carbon-free. But the electrification of existing buildings may introduce disruptive construction and cause rent to go up. Councilman Paul Koretz said the council, quote, needed more time to get it right. Councilman Mitch O'Farrell urged the city to upgrade infrastructure and buy from both public and private energy providers to increase capacity for such a transition. O'Farrell said if we do this requirement but don't have the capacity, that means we will electrify through the generation of dirty energy. This comes as a step toward the city's goal of becoming carbon-free by 2035.
The Los Angeles Teachers Union is putting new demands on one of the largest school districts in the nation. The union argues that the teachers are both stressed out and priced out.
The United Teachers of LA, or UTLA, held 3 simultaneous rallies across the district on November 5th. The union is asking for a 20% raise over the next 2 years. In addition, the union is requesting reduced class sizes and less standardized testing. UTLA President Cicely Mayarts-Cruz argued that high costs of living and housing makes living in the city unjustifiable. She also said that standardized tests take up valuable instruction time, and the large class sizes create an additional burden on teachers. According to the Los Angeles Unified School District, enrollment dropped 60,000 in the 2021 to 22 school year and will continue to drop over the next decade. LAUSD Superintendent Alberto Carvalho warned of economic hardship next year. That's because state funding is largely based on enrollment numbers. Carvalho also said he is unwilling to authorize the 20% raise now, only to lay teachers off in a few years when funds run low. Officials said that the district is continuing to meet with labor partners regularly.
California's South Bay Asian American community and newly elected officials gathered together over the weekend to celebrate election results. The new officials and community members thanked each other for all the work put into the 2022 election campaigns.
Multiple newly elected officials in the South Bay area held a gathering to show their appreciation for members of the Asian American community.
And to me, what this group represents more than anything is a movement that is being created in our community here. It's a movement that is saying, it's reminding the political establishment that we work for you.
Most of the attendees were volunteers for Mahan's and other candidates' campaigns throughout the 2022 elections.
There's a mandate. That's why the mandate was to make sure that we have those same values, that you elect politicians or public servants rather, that share the same values: hard work, making sure that you're honest, have an integrity.
The new officials and volunteers hope to get to know each other better to increase government accountability.
And as long as this movement that Matt was talking about continues, as long as we can continue building the volunteers, the necessary to change these policies, make common sense out there, as long as then that's a win for all of us.
The elected officials say they are looking forward to working together with their colleagues and members of the community.
We will continue to make strides and dispel all these myths of this horrible polarization that makes us not work together, but works us apart. And really, truly, we do want to be together. We can make such a dramatic difference when we are together.
Attendees congratulated the newly elected officials and look forward to building a stronger relationship.
A Los Angeles restaurant is hoping to reinvent pizza. The establishment's new ultra-thin rollable creations aren't the classic New York slice, but owners say they are the perfect guilt-free option. NTD's Andrew Thomas has the detail on this West Coast attempt at pizza.
There's a new pizza concept in Hollywood. Ultra-thin crust pizzas served with microgreens on the side. Crustica just opened its flagship restaurant in West Hollywood. Pizzas here range between 380 to 790 calories per pie. In comparison, a single slice of 14-inch regular crust pizza can be around 285 calories. The idea was the brainchild of real estate developer Niall Niami.
I think that this is much more than a trend. I think this is a new way to eat an old staple, a staple that's been around 100 years, and a way to eat it that is not only fun and exciting, but it also takes away the calories, but leaves all of the flavor.
Niami says he plans to expand throughout the U.S. in 2023, and then look to international markets. Crustica's pizzas range from $12 to $18 each, depending on toppings, but a pizza called The One sells for $3,500. Made with 24-karat gold flakes and white truffles, it's served on a gold-plated dish, which the diner keeps.
Not only does it taste unbelievable, but it also helps others, because $2,000 of the purchase of that pizza goes to Children's Hospital Los Angeles in your name, and dinner with me at one of my favorite restaurants, a Michelin star restaurant in Los Angeles.
Customers say they like the new health-conscious creation.
I love the concept. I mean, the fact that you managed to get all these flavors packed onto this pizza and you're not ingesting a ton of calories is absolutely amazing.
It's immediately cleaner, and because it's thin crust, it's lower calorie, and you just leave feeling lighter, like you didn't eat something really heavy.
But it remains to be seen if New Yorkers will approve. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
Now to NTD's Thomas Christian for an update on sports.
I'm Thomas Christian, giving you the California Today Sports Roundup. Now to the MLB offseason. The San Francisco Giants rebounded from missing out on Aaron Judge's free agency by giving a 2-year, $25 million deal to left-hander Sean Manaea. Manaea had 28 starts and posted a 4.96 ERA and was a key part of the Padres bullpen throughout the regular season. However, in the postseason, Manaea started against the Phillies in a pinch in the NLCS, but allowed 5 runs in just 1 1/3 inning before being pulled. San Diego was already down 2-1 at the time, and the poor performance put the Padres in a tough spot. Coming off such a grueling playoff loss, Manaea will need to prove himself to win over the clubhouse. San Francisco fans should rest easy though, as Manaea is still a 7-year veteran with a 4.06 career ERA. He's played 6 seasons with the Oakland A's and 1 with the Padres. Manaea is now on his 3rd California team in as many years. After twisting his leg on a designed run play, 49ers wide receiver Deebo Samuel is officially listed as doubtful for San Francisco's visit to the Seattle Seahawks on Thursday Night Football. Head coach Kyle Shanahan said Monday that Samuel suffered a left MCL sprain and a sprained left ankle. However, he is still expected to return sometime before the end of the regular season. Most likely, Samuel will return to the 49ers lineup to help them clinch a playoff spot if they haven't done so already. In the meantime, San Francisco's passing game will now have to more heavily feature running back Christian McCaffrey and wideout Brandon Ayuk. And now to the hardwood. Paul George scored 26 points and Kawhi Leonard had a season-high 25 with 9 rebounds as Los Angeles returned from an East Coast road trip to earn a victory over visiting Boston. Marcus Morris Sr. poured in 13 points as the Clippers took the lead for good in the second quarter and led by double digits for most of the second half, while earning a victory over the team with the top record in the NBA. Leonard shot 10 of 12 from the field. Playing in just his 9th game of the season, more performances like this will put the Clippers squarely into title contender territory. Leonard also had 9 rebounds and 6 assists. Jaylen Brown scored 21 points and Jason Tatum had 20 with 11 rebounds, as the Celtics lost consecutive games for just the 2nd time this season. Clippers 113, Celtics 93. And that's all for sports.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We'd like you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts on our California Today webpage. You can find it at ntd.com/California-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with friends and family. Send us a message on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. I'm Liang Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.